Hello everyone and welcome. We're back in the room to talk more about video games.
That's what we do now.
That's what we do now. Yeah, we're not going to talk about anything else. No. Someday maybe we'll open it up to other topics because in fairness the title isn't in any way specific to video games.
Yeah, but who wants to?
Yeah. Who wants to talk about anything
There's
else?
no other form of media out there.
No, there's nothing else to talk about. Just captures it all. Anyway, we're back in the room. My name is Chris. I'm joined by my brothers Adam and Eric.
Hello.
And in today's episode, we're focusing on 2014, continuing our greatest games of the decade discussion. Before we get into 2014, right? I want to backtrack a little bit because something dawned on me. The last two episodes we did, we actually recorded them both in the one sitting, right?
Right.
And since then, so I got to go back to 2012 first, very briefly. I went and finished Journey.
Okay.
Oh, did you?
Because of how you guys talked about it.
Right.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Isn't it?
So good.
It's really lovely. Yeah. So.
Cry at the end?
How did it make you feel?
I know I didn't cry at the end.
Yeah, you didn't do it right though.
No, I just
Didn't play it right.
I really enjoyed it. Really visual. Yeah, I highly recommend playing it and playing it the whole way through.
Yeah.
I didn't
So
really get you said before that there's like the cyclical thing will make sense. Like by the time you get to the end, when he sits back up, it's good, or he's sitting in the sand, it's got to be like, yeah, that all makes sense. I didn't really get that.
So like life goes on.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but I don't know. Yeah, I was hoping for something else. Maybe.
Like it's just nice that it, most games you complete it and then you just do a new game or a new game plus, and it's like, oh, you starting again. But this is not starting again. This is a continuation, and it's like you do it again. So is it like a representation of just life and possibly like reincarnation? Which
it seems to hint at.
Or is it just an everyday struggle through life? So just every day getting up in the morning and the journey that have to go through just in a single day.
I don't know if we discussed this, but one thing I noticed when playing of it, it seems like, like you were saying, like life, but it kind of was a representation of like your own life. Like at the start, it's like really playful, like a child. Then it's like, oh, you go through the struggles.
That's true. Yeah.
And then when you get to the end, it's all snowy, and he's like marching through. He's like old, and I think that's why I was starting.
I really liked, when you were like trudging through the snow and starting to get slower and slower, and the screen was starting to get more and more faded. It was cool, and then this beautiful visual of what
could be the afterlife.
Supposedly is heaven. Supposedly is just a cool mountain. I don't know, but do play it and make your own mind up about it, I suppose.
The pinnacle of like, I mean, I see that as just like, 6 o'clock because that's my journey home.
yeah. It's like, clocking out, fucking awesome. Look at these waterfalls. But I revisited that, finished it, really enjoyed it.
Would it surprise you that was actually a PS3 game?
It is, yeah. I think you forget because a lot of people I think picked up the remaster, which is like the version I have. Yeah, is the PS4 remaster. And then the other one I wanted to go back to because I totally missed it, and I feel like it deserves an honorable mention. It still might not be. It doesn't replace anything in terms of the lists I had for 2013, right? But I feel like because at the end we gave Grand Theft Auto an honorable mention. Yeah. And I actually feel like this game deserves an honorable mention, but I forgot it came out that year and only remembered when I from PS Plus downloaded the BioShock collection.
Yeah.
And was like, oh yeah, BioShock Infinite. When did that come out? And I looked it up. It was 2013, and I totally forgot. Yeah. And actually, like, there was the reason why it wouldn't be in my top 3 that year. Was the gameplay is a little jarring for me, but the story and the world of it, fucking awesome. Yeah. So I think it deserves a mention.
It's an absolutely fantastic twist as well. It's fun.
Yeah, they build it up really well and they set it up from the start.
But it was room for Adam. Well, Adam's
a bit of apprehension across the table.
Yeah, well, I did. Infinite was a good game, but I thought it was really overly praised. It's a great game. But I just thought that the twist was actually, I got it like halfway through the game. I guess the twist. Like I didn't think it was that like mind blowing at all. And I thought that a lot of the missions or levels in it were just so unnecessary. It's almost like when we're talking about Uncharted 3, It was like the ship mission that kind of, you know, takes you away from the main plot and stuff.
Yeah.
And it's just, there's too much of that. But I think once you get to the kind of like the asylum bit, there onward, it's an incredible game.
But I love the intro to it.
Yeah, it's really good.
And when you first get into Colombia, and it's like this like there's something really dark about how bright it is. Like it's Do you know what I mean? Like it's bright and colourful. I love the a cappella style singing and all this like choir gospel stuff going on. But underneath it all, there's this fucked up society. Like
I love that they sing songs that were out way before or way after it's set.
Yeah,
which was really like a really nice way of telling you time travel exists in it.
Yeah, I suppose. Yeah. But I just like the BioShock style is always good. So
could be another one on the way.
Is there?
Really?
Could be. Yeah.
Could be.
Like.
Well, I'd be surprised if there wasn't another one actually.
Maybe not a BioShock, but there's definitely another game coming from that writer.
And Booker DeWitt, what a name for a character. Hi, I'm Booker DeWitt. Do you remember that fucking the Christopher Walken through?
Yeah.
That is gas. So anyway, I wanted to give it a mention because it was a great game, and I think a lot of people probably
you might as well talk about games that came out
in previous years because
like nothing came out in 2014 we're talking about.
What time of man? There was
I'm sure there was a FIFA.
There was definitely a FIFA man. There's FIFA every year.
FIFA.
There is a FIFA 14. I know that for a fact.
That's because there's a FIFA 20. They couldn't have got the 20 without 14.
Man, you're so fucking right, man.
Mathematics.
FIFA's the tire of video games.
Yeah. It is, man. A good year, man.
It's a good year.
It's a good year every year. So yeah, let's burst into 2014.
Nothing happened. Moving on.
Why do you think that year was slow?
I don't know. It might not have been slow for everyone. It was slow for me. I remember going through the list and just like, because I looked through each year, and the releases, and then I wrote down any of the ones that I played, and then I kind of bashed them against each other to see which one did I enjoy the most. Right. It speaks volumes that the game that I enjoyed the most that year, and I really loved it. It's one of my favorite games of all time. Is a remaster of a PS2 game that came out in 2001. So technically, it didn't come out in 2014.
Yeah.
But the remaster did for the PS3. I don't know why it was slow. But nothing came out that year that excited me. We had just had a great year of games, and then there was more good games to come. But that year for me was slow. What about you guys?
You see, I think it was the transition period, wasn't it, between
PS3 and PS4?
Yeah. PS3, PS4, Xbox 360, Xbox One. I think we're going to get that
again with PS5.
Yeah, because when you look at this year for games, this is like what 2013 was.
It's
a ridiculous number.
This is the best year for games in a long time. I've never been so excited for games.
Like I would imagine that next year is going to be really slow because everyone's trying to transition over to a console. Not everyone is. It's a tough time for console sellers because, like, if you just take 2014, most people as gamers would have the PS3 or Xbox 360. Why would you release a game that's only on the PS4 and Xbox One? Because your audience isn't going to be as big.
Yeah.
So, like in some of those games, like Destiny came out in 2014, MGS5 Ground Zeroes came out in 2014, The Wolf Among Us came out in 2014.
Yeah.
They're all on PS3 as well.
Yes, they are. Yeah, because I played some of those on the PS3.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
like that transition period is always, it's always really, really slow.
Yeah.
So there's very few games that came out as like full on platform exclusives.
Yeah, that's true. Wow.
Apart from...
Wow, this episode's a real downer.
Yeah.
It's like, we were on such a high the last time, but, nothing excited me. Episode over. Thanks for listening. Eric, was there any... Was there...
Well...
You actually had a good year, did you?
Yeah.
You're like, yeah, fuck you guys.
Yeah,
2014 games.
was the best year ever. It was so good. Was
it Infinity Blade 4?
Nah, man. It was sadly not, no. Well, there was The Evil Within for me was probably my best one for 2014. I'm just going to go straight off the bat.
Go for it. Yeah, go for it.
Evil Within, just because...
I was saying it to you earlier. The reveal trailer for The Evil Within, the first one.
Yeah.
It's fucking awesome.
Very
sick, very scary. I remember showing it to my friend Danny. And I was going, man, check out the trailer for this game. It's going to be unreal. And he was going... I am fucking never playing that. And I was like, man, I know, it looks so fucking scary. It looked terrifying.
It is
terrifying.
A scary
game.
It
is terrifying.
But it's more frustrating than it is scary.
Deserves credit.
Yes. Replay value is very fucking annoying because it's just...
Are you sure you love this game?
No, he just said it was his favorite of that year.
Yeah, because again, like we just discussed, nothing came out that year. So, made it very easy.
The bar was low.
In fairness for The Evil Within, and it does. In fairness, because of the games that came out that year, it deserves a lot of credit. Actually,
it has an audience.
It definitely has an audience. But the it was. Am I right in saying it was created by the guy who first started Resident Evil?
Yeah.
Yes.
Right. And Resident Evil had gone through a really bad patch at that time. It had just
5 and 6. Yeah.
5 and 6, right? It really lost the mark and had gone away from. And one of the big criticisms of Resident Evil was, one of the big games that started survival horror is no longer a survival horror game. Now it's an action game. So he went and made something that's not part of the Resident Evil series, but it has some of the Resident Evil formula.
Yeah.
Which could be both a pro and a con for the game, actually, in my opinion. In that it's visually it's fantastic, and there's some great character designs and great scares and great atmosphere in it, and the lighting is really good in it.
Yeah.
But I found personally it to be a little too similar to Resident Evil 4,
which he also did.
But Resident Evil 4 is also one of the best ones. I think that's one reason why I liked it, because when you're playing the start of it, it feels like when you go into the village, which is like such a Resident Evil 4 looking area.
It is, yeah.
It was great because it was like, oh, savage, like Resident Evil 4 again. But yeah, I'll admit that there's some aspects that were a bit like annoying.
There's
not great.
The Evil Within has I suppose like an identity crisis kind of thing, where it's like it has a few things that you can kind of say that's absolutely unique and new.
Yeah.
Which is some of the bosses and the visuals,
Spider Lady,
and all that kind of stuff. But then you have the kind of grunts that you shoot, which is very similar to
Resident Evil,
the Ganados from Resi 4, and that's the bit where it just feels not very original.
The game loses me on the enemy types.
It also has the secret organization, which is kind of responsible for every event, which is very umbrella.
Is that Mobius?
Mobius named the company. Yeah, they delve into that more so in the second one. So I would say the second one is probably better than the first one on the basis of being far more unique. Yeah. Going again a little bit away from Resident Evil, and also somehow being scary, even though you're playing as the same character who went through it again. There's some amount.
I have to give a criticism as well for the main character. I'm talking about the first game now.
Oh yeah, no, the voice acting is terrible.
Fucking hell.
Voice acting is just not up to standard.
Yeah, like especially in 2014, straight after, like we just had like a year of like The Last of Us and Tomb Raider and stuff, and like suddenly you're going back to you were nearly a Jill sandwich, like like really poor. Oh my god. Doesn't he say that loads of times?
He does say that loads of times. Yeah.
Like every time he sees, oh my god. With
and nothing really phases him.
No,
like,
he's just
watches
like, oh my god.
These people like wearing straitjackets with barbed wire like wrapped around them, coming at you with an axe, and it's just like, Jesus, what's going on here?
That's right.
Walk through this door. It's like, all right, you're not gonna shit yourself when there's a fucking dog coming at you.
He does have like one of the most epic video game protagonist names, though. What's his name? Sebastian Castellanos.
Sebastian Castellanos. Yeah. It's like, I have no idea where the city is set.
Yeah, it's like, this could be anywhere. Is it Europe? Is it America? I don't know. It's not Japan, but it's made by a Japanese
And then you
studio.
had the main villain in it, Ruvik, who is one of the coolest villains I have ever seen.
Yeah, you'll fight everyone on that.
Huh?
You'll fight anyone.
I will fight everyone on that.
If anyone said, I hate that Ruvik guy, you'd be
he's
fuck you, man.
He's savage. He's amazing. It's the best ever.
What's so cool about Ruvik?
His design, his powers, his motivation, everything. Like the fact that when he was this is also another thing where it makes it really weird. When he was a child, he was like, and he was playing with his sister in the barn. Some peasants that worked for them. Now, they had dressed very, like, 1800s, like, plantation era. And I was like, what? When the fuck is this set? Like, this guy traveled through time or something?
So where is it set? When is it set?
I have no idea. But they, like, come over and they, like, they decide to burn the barn as, like, a revolt against the Victoriano family or something. Because I think they're all arseholes or something. Like, stealing from the poor type idea. So his sister, like, saves him, but then she burns to death, and he ends up getting burnt himself. So he has to go through loads of, like, surgery and
Doesn't
stuff.
she become, like, the spider lady?
She does become a spider. That's why
Which
fire.
is why she hates fire.
Yeah, fire is why she hates.
But she's the mental incarnation, is it?
Yes. So there's some really cool.
Yeah.
Every creature in the first game actually has a reason to its design, which is derived from Ruben's own fucked up psychology.
Yeah. You see, I think, and I actually really liked the game. I liked aspects of it. It didn't make my top 3 that year, but it is one of the better games that came out that year. But I think I would love it if it was like every enemy is a boss encounter, kind of like Prince of Persia. Remember
or
that
even
one?
Resident Evil 7.
Or even Resident Evil 7.
Yeah.
Yeah, like that. So where every boss is a character and you spend certain segments. It's like for a segment you are dealing with this boss and you have to avoid them, get away from them, do puzzles or whatever. You're slowly learning a bit about that character maybe as it's going along, and then you will have to fight that character before you move on to the next section, because the bosses are really interesting character designs and have an interesting backstory.
Yeah.
The bit where it loses me is all the random enemies and the random grunts.
Yeah.
Like when we got to the village, like I said, very like Resi 4, that is actually where I lost interest, to tell the truth.
Yeah.
As much as I love Resi 4, because it just felt really, I don't know.
I didn't feel like it
didn't warrant
was
it.
like
I didn't
disconnected, think. Kind of. Like it was a different game, like slapped into another game.
That's what I thought.
Yeah.
Like the whole asylum opening thing, it was great, really good.
Yeah.
And the guy with the chainsaw chasing you, and then you go through, you get. And your leg get cut and you're limping through as these big giant saws are coming towards you, and you're like, this is intense as fuck, you know. And it's like the last time I felt like this was playing Dead Space or something.
Oh man, Dead Space.
Do you know, I think we missed out on Dead Space 2 one year. I think it came out one of the years that we totally missed.
Honorable mention, Dead Space 2 came out at some point, and that was
There's
good.
no way the two of them both came out before 2010.
I think they did.
No way.
Yeah.
The first one did. The second one, no way. I think we just missed it. You obviously didn't like it.
Adam's gonna look it up.
He's gonna look it up now.
Well, I mean,
well, actually, it never made my top 3, but it's a really good game.
Didn't
go back.
really like. I mean, Dead Space 2 was fine, but it's one that really is the one I love.
Oh yeah.
But just another point actually that I don't like about Evo then is when you're in the village, you get a tape. So there's all these tapes that Ruvik leaves behind where you slowly build the story of what happened to him. You can figure out the whole plot of everything that happened. You understand everything by like the 3rd chapter, if you really think about it.
Yeah.
You can figure it out.
Especially when you look at the artwork on the cover and the title.
Yeah.
Of the game.
Oh,
it does, in fairness,
and also the tagline.
It's a very good title.
Enter the mind of a madman. It's like, well, okay.
Yeah, thanks, tagline.
Yeah, just spoiled that.
It's a very good title.
Yes.
For a horror survivor series, like a new one. The Evil Within, I thought it worked really well. You're saying a lot what you don't like about it. What did you like about it? What did you like about it? Because it was your favorite game of the year. So the only reason I'm saying what I didn't like about it is I'm justifying why it's not mine. You know? So
that's fair. What I loved about it was all of it. Amazing.
Is it mainly Ruvik?
No, not just Ruvik. Well, Ruvik's pretty cool. Actually, one of the things I loved was transitioning from one area to another. They did a really interesting idea with that, which is So Ruvik is a god within this world.
Yeah.
One thing I like about him. So sometimes he might just pop up, and you're like,
those segments are just terrifying.
They're terrifying because you can't stop him. He just walks towards you, you shoot, and nothing happens. But there's the first time they ever do it is just after fighting. First time you encounter Spider Lady. I'll get to her though.
Does she have a name?
Spider Lady.
But that's not within the game. That's just what all the fans have called
Laura
her, right?
Victoriano is what she's called.
All right.
That's just pretty much it.
Yeah.
She's Laura.
Spider Lady sounds better.
Yeah, Spider Lady's way better. But when you're just going down all these stairs, kind of in this industrial kind of area, and you just keep going down, and then he disappears, and he starts Ruvik disappears, starts walking towards you. You're shooting, you run away, and he gets to a point when there's nowhere further you can go.
Right.
And he's still coming at you, and then he just disappears, and all the stairs begin to fall, and then you fall down as well because the whole platform falls.
Yeah.
And as you're falling, you just notice the map changes from this industrial drop.
Yeah.
To a mental institution corridor, and then you end up just hitting a wall, and then you're just in this mental institution. And it was one of the best ways of going from one area to another in such a quick transition. So
yeah, that sounds pretty cool. I do like when video game developers come up with very interesting, creative ways of transitioning locations and things like that, and they'll come up in other games.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay, so you like the transitions. What did you think about the gameplay? I mean, I suppose if you like Resi 4, you're going to like the gameplay, really. Like, that's kind of...
yeah, well, it also added in new aspects. So one thing it adds in is you're able to move while shooting. That's pretty handy.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, Resident Evil 4 and 5 don't have that.
6 has it, though, doesn't it?
6 has it, yeah. So you can move while shooting. That's handy.
Yeah.
Crouching and sneaking by. That's a thing Resident Evil 4 doesn't have that this has.
Yeah,
cool.
there is a stealth kind of gameplay to it, isn't there?
Yeah, because sometimes there's just too many enemies. And you just can't deal with them.
Right, yeah.
I love the kind of... To upgrade yourself, you have to sit into like an electrocution chair.
That's right.
You have your own...
yourself,
yeah, essentially. You got to pick up all this like green gel, and then you got to like go into some mental room or something where there's a psycho nurse, and then you just sit in an electric chair, and just that's how you upgrade yourself. And you're like upgrading not your physical self, but your mind.
Yes.
And then that's kind of... So it's like Sebastian is like mentally, I don't know, for lack of better words, mentally upgrading himself so that he can survive in this weird, crazy mental world.
It works, I suppose, in terms of the
context of the story.
Exactly, yes. Yeah. So they built the gameplay around the story. It's like, if we're going to have upgrades, let's do it in such a way that in our world makes sense.
Yeah.
Which was really cool.
And I think that's also...
I think I wish that, Sebastian, the main character that you're playing as, had more layers. For a survival horror game protagonist.
That was the thing I was going to ask. Like, what genre do you think it is?
Survival horror.
Do you think it is a survival horror?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah.
I think it classes as that, yeah.
I'm trying to survive, and it's horrifying.
Yeah.
No, I think it definitely classes that, and definitely more so than Resi 5 or 6.
Oh yeah. Why we consider them action horror?
Yeah, I mean, because like there's a lot of action in it, but like no more than Resi 4. But I would call Resi 4 survival horror.
Yeah.
But there's less ammo. Or like there is that element of having to kind of conserve ammo or something in Resident Evil 4.
Right, but in The Evil Within, like there's a lot of sneaking around, and there's a lot of just trying to get by, and sometimes there's cases where there's enemies you just can't fight and you have to just evade them, and I think it's undoubtedly survival horror. I don't think I wouldn't think,
especially considering the first time you meet Laura, you know it when you enter that hallway and you see the pile of bodies, you know she's gonna come.
Yeah.
And you just walk down, you're like, oh fuck, just come on.
Doesn't she just like burst out and like blood sprays everywhere?
Yeah, and she just screams. She just screams,
really good.
And bursting at the bodies, and then you see her, and you're like shooting at her, and nothing phases her, and then you just gotta turn and run.
She is exactly why I never finished that game.
Oh, she's
it's like
she's so
there's two things that like I know people learned before that I don't like spiders, right?
And you don't like women.
No.
Especially spider women.
That's from Dog Soldiers, right?
Yeah, it's Dog Soldiers.
No, but what two images that terrify me are, yes, spiders, and then also like
you're one from Rings.
The Ring.
Yeah, the long black
hair. Or
The
Grudge. Yeah, and like a young girl with long black hair that's over her that's just acting really creepily. this woman is a mashup of the two of those things. So it's like, that's the actual scariest thing on the fucking planet.
Kill you in one go.
Yeah, she's terrifying. And she like screams and wails at you. She's running after you on her fucking multiple legs. No, not like Dory's big and wail. Like. It's more Banshee-esque. But she is definitely one of the most awesome like horror game creations, I think.
Yeah.
I'd give her credit for that.
Yeah, she's savage.
But yeah, like
her and Ruvik are just best.
I think my expectations for the game were just
too high,
way too high, in order for me to really enjoy the game.
Yeah,
just because. What was his name? Is it Shinji Mikami or something like that?
Yeah, something like that.
That actually sounds right.
I should. Yeah,
Shinji is definitely.
Hope I don't butcher that, but yeah, because he made Resident Evil 1, brought Resident Evil back with 4, back to not back to its roots, but reinvented it. And pretty much
he did to Resident Evil
really cool genre.
What 7 also did.
Yeah.
Do you know when the series starts to run stale?
Yeah.
Someone comes along and creatively redoes it, but keeps what's important about a Resi game in it.
But they also created Vanquish, which was class. I didn't get to play Beautiful Joe, but I heard it's pretty good as well. So his
you just said two things I never fucking heard of. So
well, his back catalog,
I won't judge you for not playing them.
His back catalog was like his portfolio is really good.
Yeah, you'd give him a job.
So hearing him come back to the survival horror genre, I was just like, yeah, I was way too excited.
Yeah, I felt the same way, but I suppose I think I was hoping for a different gameplay style than the gameplay it actually gave, which is, like I said earlier, I was hoping it was like one-on-one encounters and less action, I suppose. More like you just trying to get by and always trying to... I don't know, I prefer horror games when I'm not fighting.
I just think,
I don't know how other people feel about that.
No, I don't mind ones that you're fighting, but it's just that I thought it wasn't balanced well. I thought that there was... there was too many enemies that take too much bullets to take down and not enough bullets. Now there probably is enough bullets, but like kind of if you explore a bit,
yeah.
But the balance I thought wasn't quite there.
I felt because there's a trophy to get where you kill, because you encounter Spider Lady 3 times in the whole game, and you encounter
That's
once.
a shock to me.
Why is it a shock to you, Adam?
Because I killed her.
On the first go?
First time I saw her.
You broke the fucking game.
Yeah, I got stuck in I had to run. I'm pretty sure. I remember sharing the first encounter with her on maybe Facebook or Twitter. I can't remember, but she runs after you. You're running down the hallway. I kind of got stuck there and I got killed. Right?
Yeah.
I didn't realize there's a guy who runs out the door and then she kills that guy and you run through that door.
Yeah.
And then I run down there.
Yeah.
And I'm running down these stairs and eventually you're stuck in this
room where you're supposed to open the doors.
You're supposed to open this door, right? I didn't realize that. So I was running around in circles in this tiny little room, shotgunning, like hitting her with the shotgun.
Yeah.
And eventually I killed her.
Yeah. And
I
done.
Still didn't know where to go.
Oh, well, you still just go through the door. Right? She's going to pop back up again. And Spider Lady.
Yeah.
Because you kill her, the first, that you're obviously not supposed to kill her there. But that is when Ruvik first...
Should have gotten a trophy for that.
You should have. I think that's when, and it's after that when Ruvik comes along and does his transition moment, which is
Up
really
the
cool.
stairs, is it?
Yeah. But then you come across her again, you drop her into a fire pit and kill her, and then you're thinking, oh, savage, she's gone, don't have to put up with her anymore. And then she comes back into it again, where she's really annoying, and it is quite unbalanced.
See, that's 3 times of nope for me.
Yeah.
But what's this fucking trophy you're talking about, though?
Right, so for the last time, you don't actually have to kill her. You just have to keep her at bay until an elevator comes. But there is a trophy to kill her.
Oh, right.
At that moment.
God damn it.
So you don't have to kill her?
No, when you drop her in the fire pit, you do.
You
only have to kill her once.
No, but I mean the final encounter.
No, you don't have to kill her in the final encounter.
So technically she doesn't die? But
no,
technically...
She does when you kill Ruvik,
technically,
though.
she's always been dead.
But I had like a rock launcher and everything firing at her, and she still wouldn't die. And that bit was very unbalanced.
I killed her 2 encounters ago. That's not fair.
She was fine.
I don't know how you were able to do that. But yeah, no, the game, even on easy, is actually quite difficult. Just fuck off about him, right? Fucking Mr. I kill her in a tiny room. She couldn't stretch, right?
No, it is. No, it is a difficult game.
It's a very difficult game. But I think it was quite nice on, because it is like Resident Evil, but it was like Resident Evil gone good again.
Cool, yeah. It was like a nice return to
it got good.
Yeah, got good.
Get good, man.
And then just
nice
the lore then behind all the designs of the characters was really cool, because it was just then not one of these things where it's like, oh, we designed this because it was cool, it just looked cool. That was it. They actually put thought into it.
They're all Trump.
It was great. It's gonna be great. We have great design coming along. It's gonna be awesome. I don't think you're giving credit to the other designers out there, Eric, though, who I'm sure have a reason for what they designed. What made the Evil Within stand out was the designers had a reason for their...
I don't know. Some people do.
I know. I get what you're saying, though. Yeah. Like, there is a deeper psychological
reason behind all the designs. Yeah, there's like... Okay, this is my last point, right? Maybe.
Okay.
So there's just one enemy that you fight that has like 2 heads, and like one side of the person is like kind of more normal, where the other one's really fucked up.
Isn't there an enemy like that in Dante's Inferno? Am I wrong?
Probably.
Like a 2...
I don't know.
In like Fraud or something like that? No?
Maybe.
Okay.
I can't remember that game.
I just remembered that.
But that was like Ruvik's perception of people with split personality and schizophrenia.
Wow.
Ooh. Which was... Yeah, it was really cool.
I think that game, if it focused a little bit more on that kind of stuff rather than the action side of things, it could have been a lot more interesting.
See, I think in a sense, it's kind of like Arkham Origins, in that there's a lot of really good shit in there.
Just the gameplay,
but the gameplay
isn't
not
quite
connecting
there.
with it or clicking with the standard of the writing or the ideas. Yeah. So like I said. Yeah, Evil Within has awesome ideas and awesome characters and locations, but yeah, the gameplay just doesn't work for me.
Yeah, kind of generic.
Yeah,
a little bit. Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah,
especially at that point, because like Dead Space had also done the Resi 4 style gameplay, but it had a new setting, so that's what was new. It wasn't just that; it was also this one didn't have really a new setting.
Like what was nice about the Dead Space one was that you had to like, it wasn't necessarily because. You had a weapon that had infinite ammo.
You did, yeah.
But it was that you had to really think about every shot.
Strategically how to use it.
Yeah, it's like you have to change the angle of the shot, and you have to cut the limbs off of certain enemies because just shooting them wasn't going to work.
Also, you had to have the balls to aim and shoot and not just scream at your screen.
Yeah.
You know, because so that if you're me, you just don't aim at the neck.
So although there was like a lot of enemies and it was the usual over-shoulder shooting thing, it added this kind of puzzle mechanic to it, like almost like Tetris. Like you had to change the shape and like that's really clever.
Yeah.
Whereas with Evil Within, it's just pump them with bullets and it's just
headshots.
The same thing over and over again. It could have been a little bit more interesting if they delved into like the psychology, like try tie that in a bit more with the combat.
I think as well they could have taken just a little page out of Silent Hill's book with their protagonist, because you're delving into a lot of psychological stuff, and like the enemy is a real. It would have been really nice if the protagonists themselves, is a bit more fucked up than he's a bit one dimensional.
Yeah, in that one he is. In
I know
the second
that
one he's not.
Yeah, because and I think they did take on the criticism on board, because it was one of the criticisms of the first game was how wooden the protagonist was, and it definitely did a job of kind of amending that in the second game.
There's a lot of questions in the first one that don't really raise, like they don't really answer either.
Yeah,
as well.
And I don't like. I mean, in some cases it works, but I think horror games work better when the person you're playing as is less capable. So the thing of a cop, has been kind of done to death. So playing as the detective who goes into this place, like, even if it was something like he was a journalist or something, or I don't know, I just think the cop setting has been done a lot. Like the Resi games, pretty much every protagonist is a cop or a spy or an agent or something.
Yeah,
like that.
it's actually quite interesting. Like difference between Western and Eastern horror games.
Yeah.
Well, maybe that's not a fair comparison actually, because Silent Hill, you're not really a.
Well, Silent Hill is a fantastic example of games where the protagonist could be anyone, and those games are really not combat focused.
Yeah.
They're just how would you like to shit yourself for a couple?
Yeah,
of
I kind of prefer that side of it. Like same with Outlast.
Fuck me.
Like Outlast is like way scarier.
Stress me.
Outlast is way scarier than The Evil Within, but
it is.
That's
true.
But
there's no combat in it. Like
no. Yeah, and that's I think, and I enjoyed playing it more. Strangely,
like I consider
scary.
Like that's why I
prefer horror
kind of,
games where you just get by.
Yeah, I think that's why I kind of like wouldn't classify The Evil Within as survival horror, because I don't feel like I'm trying to survive. I'm just shooting my way through stuff.
See, no. I think it is.
I'm not running away from anything. It's like except for the spider lady.
You're talking about running away from Chainsaw Guy as well.
Yeah, you do run away because that's that like
no,
for that specific part.
I'm talking about also when you meet him in the village.
Yeah, you can just shoot him.
Yeah, but you're gonna run away as well.
No, but I mean, like, okay,
you need to make your distance to shoot him.
That's running away.
Like Resident Evil, it was one of the first big horror survival games, right?
Yeah.
People often cite it as like the kind of what kicked off the horror survival genre.
Okay, possibly.
But you shoot and fight your enemies, like, so it's not.
You do, but it's not like it's more puzzle based.
A lot of the game is,
yeah. But and that seems to be a running theme of like survival horror games, is this kind of puzzle aspect.
Think
to
your
it.
way out.
Yeah. So if you took Alien Isolation or Outlast, for example, the puzzle is there's kind of like although less in Alien Isolation, but there's kind of a pattern to the movement, and it's about trying to understand that and timing that perfectly. That goes back to things like Pac-Man. That puzzle aspect.
Pac-Man has never been scarier. Fuck ghosts.
But it does, like, I mean, like, it's like that's a puzzle game now.
Yes, it is, yeah.
Whereas something like Evil Within, like, it kind of loses that. There is the stealthy aspect to it, but it's not necessary. You can just shoot your way through it. And, like, there's certain guns in that. Like, there's, like, this kind of almost like an electric bow thing, isn't there? Or, like, a crossbow.
There's a crossbow, yeah. So because there's not actually a lot of bullets. So you do rely on the crossbow a lot, where you can... Like, let's say you have the electric bolt or the incinerator bolt or explosive.
Like, that thing is
bolt.
overkill.
Yeah, it is. But so that's kind of one puzzle aspect, is that you don't have, let's say, any bullets, and you're trying to think, well, what's the best way to get past all these enemies coming at me? Well, I could fire a bolt into a wall, and it creates like a tripwire type thing, and then you can fire into another one. So if they come at you, the ones coming flanking you could then explode while you're then shooting the ones.
Yeah, I just feel like it kind of... Oh, it's not necessarily a puzzle because it just forces you to end up having to use the crossbow. You know what I mean? Like they've kind of introduced this weapon that you would have plentiful ammo for, so you have to use it.
Well, my difficulty with combat in horror games stems in they tend to be difficult as well. So if you die a couple of times, you end up seeing the same scene after a while,
over and over again.
And then after a while, the scare goes away, and the game just becomes annoying.
Yeah.
So that's my issue. Like, that's why I prefer horror games where the challenge is, can you keep going? Will you keep playing?
Yeah, can you just enter that room nearly? It's like, it's
or
your willingness
because
as a player.
I have played games where there's no combat, but I went, fuck this, I'm turning this off. No, I can't go down the hall, I'm turning it off, right? Yeah. And those are the horror games I love, because I just think that if you go, right, I got to do it. But I just get annoyed when it's a case of, I'm on a boss and it's hard, and I'm no longer afraid of the boss. I'm just pissed off by it. Yeah. So that's just what I. So I wish it was less action orientated and more character driven and more atmospheric. Yeah. Those bits in Evil Within work really well, and I think the big combat bits don't. That's my take.
Fair enough.
Okay. But yeah.
Well done.
Right. You get a medal. Here's a Blue Beaters badge. But okay, Adam.
Yeah.
Favorite game of 2014.
Don't know.
Okay, so my favorite.
Like, there's a few games that were.
Go on, say Evil Within as well.
Pretty enjoyable.
I mean, oh, by the way, that sounded like a huge rant. Evil Within is actually a good game. Like it's,
yeah.
It is well like game.
Is that right? Like
no, but like I just think it for me personally it missed the mark a little bit. Like there's stuff that it definitely
as
could
far
have
as
done
2014
to be a better game.
It's a good game,
but I did think it was good.
I'm playing a little bit at the moment of Orion the Blind Forest.
Okay.
Which I didn't play back then.
But it did come out that year, right?
Yeah, and the little bit that I've played so far, I would probably say that is the best game of 2014.
Wow.
But I haven't played enough of it to kind of comfortably say that. That's all. But like, because the game hasn't, as far as I know, it's not like any different than when it came out first.
All right.
Apart from a couple of like DLCs or something like that, but I didn't get to touch them. So
what is it? Because I've seen the name, but I know nothing about it. And I've actually heard a lot of praise about the game because there's a sequel coming to it that people are excited for because of the first game.
Yeah.
But I know nothing about the game. I don't even know what it looks like.
So it's kind of like if you took it's a side-scrolling platformer.
Yeah.
Right. But the kind of the graphics and artwork are like just it wouldn't have been possible on previous consoles. Like the way they've implemented. I know it's technically almost like a 2D game.
Yeah.
And it's like it's all painted and stuff like that, but there are like visual effects and like these blurs that go on as well, like your background distance, draw distance, etc. that just wouldn't have been possible on previous consoles. So it's like if you took something like Mario, and what would that look like today?
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like, so it's like really all the technologies that go into making games, but it's just still in that 2D platformer style.
Okay.
But it's if you just played the opening, I think you'd get why that game is amazing. Right? It's similar to like the last.
Is it like? Oh wow! That's not what I was
in terms of.
I was gonna say, is it like Journey? Because for some reason I thought it would be of that vibe. Like, what is Ori like? Is Ori the main character?
Yeah.
And is Ori kind of I also thought it was sort of like a Legend of Zelda type thing. I don't know why. Orion the Blind Forest. Is it a Nintendo game? I don't know anything about this game.
It's a Microsoft game.
Right, okay.
Right, but you can play it on the Switch.
Right.
See,
I think I saw advertised for the Switch.
It came out last year for the Switch.
Right, that's right.
But it's a Microsoft exclusive technically. They just brought it over for the Switch as well.
And in my head, like Ori is a little flying ball, kind of like the little fairies from Zelda.
No, Ori
like
that's not correct,
is
it?
It's like a fox.
Yeah, it kind of almost looks like it almost looks like a little foxy. Actually, it looks like Stitch.
See, I should stop making assumptions about games I've seen no footage to.
Yeah, it looks like a little white version of Stitch from Lilo and Stitch. That's what it looks like. And you're like the opening to the game is. It seems like you've come from this like almost like a tree of life kind of a thing, and you're being adopted by this creature, and the opening, like you've seen it, Eric.
I've seen the opening. Yeah. The opening.
Do you like it?
Not gonna lie, this is another one where the opening almost had me in tears.
Yeah,
Eric, man, are you alright? Like,
there is a similarity with The Last of Us in terms of
yeah. It's very just like don't do like.
Does the child die? Is it?
No.
There's this like
almost.
It's like it is a montage. There's this. It's similar to actually.
It's like Up.
It's almost like it's almost like Up, but I would liken it to Bambi.
I'm not ready.
Yeah, it's very like Bambi. There's no dialogue really, so it's all told just through
visuals
animation. So it has that kind of Pixar short kind of storytelling to it.
All right, okay.
Except with a sad ending.
Really sad ending. But the game is very difficult.
Lads, you both look like you're tearing up now. Like, you alright? Like,
just remembering it.
Yeah, it's like you don't know how blind that forest is, man.
It's super blind.
But it's a very difficult game, which is why I haven't really gotten that far into it.
Yeah, that was gonna be my next question.
And it's
like,
Metroidvania.
It's so good, why haven't you finished it?
It's like a Metroidvania style as well, so you can like. Although it's 2D platforming, it's almost like open world nearly, because you can go to any part of the map at any point as well. And you
so
can
there's different stages that you can return to, and you unlock different parts of them.
You unlock new abilities that let you access a part that you didn't get to before.
Awesome.
So that you can 100% areas and stuff.
Yeah.
It's a really, really top-notch game, but like I said, I haven't really gotten far enough to it.
Is it kind of a fairy tale? Is it sort of like a fantasy kind of style thing? And is it bright colours but dark themes?
So it's like it'd be like
I'm doing it again, guys.
like Fern Gully.
Yeah,
It's like that where it's like it's a living forest thingy, and then it's like this evil darkness is coming along and it's kind of killing the trees and stuff.
I love shit like that.
Yeah.
And I love. I've just been brought to mind now the Dark Crystal.
Oh yeah.
I'm sure it's nothing like that, but the notion of a planet dying because something is like drawing life from it, essentially. I love those kind of stories. Fucking awesome.
I think
nature dies.
Like Orion the Blind Forest,
commentaries,
Orion the Blind Forest is a really, really good game, but because it's kind of going up against, it's a AAA game. It's not like an indie dev game,
right? Yeah.
But because it's that 2D platforming thing, it's competing against the things like The Evil Within and Metal Gear Solid and Destiny and stuff like that. That I imagine
Metal Gear Solid didn't come out that year.
Well, the Ground Zeroes did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then Destiny also came out there.
Yeah. So it can kind of like fall under the radar a bit for a lot of people, but I would say definitely try it out. Like it's on Xbox. It's actually with Xbox Game Pass at the moment, and it's on Switch. Definitely try it out.
Excellent. So it's on nothing I have.
But you can play Evil Within, man. I'm just saying.
I'm gonna get right on that.
Evil Within.
You should definitely try to pick up a cheap Xbox.
Yeah. No, go buy a Switch, will you? And then play the start of. But he's having intrigued by the start of it, so.
I will definitely give you a go. Like I'll bring this, or Eric has a Switch.
Yeah,
try it tonight.
And,
I love that. I'll bring the. No, actually, you know what? Eric will.
Eric,
I have a Switch, and I have. The demo is very long. I didn't even complete the demo. The demo is very long.
I'm pretty sure the demo doesn't end. It's kind of like how far can you get in one sitting, because you can't save your progress. Or can you?
No, you can save.
Okay.
You can save.
Are you sure you have the demo or not? Just
I might just have the game.
How much that demo cost you?
It was about 60 quid. It's a really expensive demo.
I had to sign my soul away.
Yeah.
So I can't really talk enough on that game, but I think anyone who has played it would agree with me to say like that was well worth playing in that year.
Well, like I said, I've heard it crop up a couple of times, but I hadn't seen any footage of it.
What's odd about it is like if you looked at it, you kind of go, oh yeah, this looks like a child's game. Like I mean, kids could play this.
And could kids play it?
I think it's too difficult.
Well, Super Mario was a kid's game, and that I never cleared that.
Yeah,
Mario's easy.
But
that's so hard.
The Legend of Zelda games are quite tricky. I think
they're children's games.
No, this is way harder than them.
Really?
Yeah.
Is this like the Dark Souls of kids games?
Well, it's not a kid's game. That's what I'm saying.
All right.
But like, what makes it difficult?
Are you just kidding yourself?
Have you ever played Super Meat Boy?
No. Why are you naming games today? I've never heard of it. What are these games?
Okay, whatever.
What's he
I think we'll let you play it. And
are you even a gamer, Chris?
Get it. Do you know Super Meat Boy?
Yeah, I know Super Meat Boy.
Who's Super Meat Boy?
He's Super Meat Boy. He's a meat boy. He's super.
Super Meat Boy was a indie game that came out on the 360. Like it's on everything now, but it originally came out on the 360, and it's like you're this slab of meat basically
with a face,
and you're with a face.
Oh,
and you're
it's
platforming across.
Yeah,
it's really hard.
Really animated design. Yeah, I have seen that. I didn't realize that's what he was called, Super Meat Boy. That's fucking original.
It was really graphic and gory as well, but that is a tough game, and it'd be like that.
Okay,
it'd be like that.
Cool.
Actually, another graphic game that kind of looks like it's for children is The Binding of Isaac. Just gonna put that out there.
I was actually just thinking of that when you said Super Meat Boy.
Horrifying. That is the shit of nightmares.
When my nightmares shit, that's what comes out. That is the shit of nightmares. That needs to be the title of this episode. The shit of nightmares. Well, we did open talk about Evil Within and stuff, so we will finish that.
This is fairly like
this is a very graphic, horrifying episode.
Maybe I'll talk about something.
2014 is so scary.
Well, it sums up 2014. Everything was gross.
Yeah. Well, there was a really nice game that came out that year.
What was that one?
It's called Monument Valley.
Oh.
Did you ever play that?
No.
What is that?
So it's a...
Hey, we're both like, what the fuck out about?
Yeah.
That's even play games, man.
Like, that's a... it's a mobile game, so it's a very, very short experience. You can probably clear it in 2 hours.
Right.
Not Infinity Blade then. Takes 24 hours.
I think it's like 2 or 3 quid on... It was originally on iOS. I think it's on Android now. But it's like a little puzzle game where you're trying to get one character to a goal point. But the kind of little trail that you go across are like MC Escher paintings. So you have to manipulate them, like they're 3D little maps, little puzzles, and you have to like rotate cogs and stuff like that, which will rotate kind of pathways, and depending on the perspective of the map, it will create a new like pathway for your little character to walk across.
I think I've seen you play this.
Yeah, it's really like, it's not difficult. It's really not difficult, but it's really like meditative. So if you're like traveling,
right? Okay.
It's like,
it's not a better game than Orion the Blind Forest.
No,
but it's just a fun kind of pass the time kind of game.
Yeah, like it is a really, really good game, and it's won like lots of awards in terms of being a mobile game.
Yeah.
The second one is also out as well, but I haven't really gotten far into that one.
Okay, cool. Yeah. I'm kind of torn on what to talk about.
Okay.
Only because I have a my favorite game that came out that year, like I said, was a HD remaster of a game that actually came out in 2001. So that's really when it was actually released, I suppose. The HD remaster, I suppose, technically is a better version of the game because it's the same game, but it's a little bit more even HD. You know, it's even more
high definition. Ha.
Yeah. Ha. That's a clue. And then there's another game I really fucking enjoyed that actually came out that year. So I don't know which one to talk about. I don't know which one.
Well, what's the game?
On my lid. The game that actually came out that year, very briefly, is The Wolf Among Us.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
We played that on PS3, didn't we?
Yeah, I was downtown one day and I was in. Normally, I only buy a game if it's been well advertised and I was already maybe a fan of the series, or I saw what the gameplay had to offer and I was really interested in it and I'm looking forward to it before it comes out. The Wolf Among Us, I'd never heard of it, and I was in GameStop and I saw it and I thought, that looks interesting, fuck it, and I just picked it up and bought it. I normally don't do that with like any game, and I played it, and I think it's Telltale's best game.
Yeah.
I'm not shy to say
a lot of people say that, actually.
I'm so surprised that
like all two of people I heard say that.
Just us now. I am so surprised that it's taken this long for them to do the sequel, because they have pumped out sequels to their other games a lot quicker. So I kind of thought, oh, maybe
like the Batman one as well. Batman has got a sequel really quickly. But
this is an original, though, isn't it?
Well, The Wolf Among Us is very loosely based on a
set of graphic novels
called Fables.
Yes.
Which I believe is released by Vertigo. It's definitely related to DC. Right.
But they were probably tied into license agreements to do the other yokes.
Possibly, but so not only do I really enjoy those choice-based games, and again I like the art style. It still has that clunky, there's slow. The slow parts in between making a choice and something actually happening, right? That unfortunately is there in all Telltale games. But the world of it and the characters of it is fucking awesome. So it's essentially a noir drama set around fairy tale characters from, like any children's tales, like Little Red Riding Hood, Three Little Pigs, and also like Disney characters. And it takes all these children's characters and puts them in really like dark, adult kind of setting. So you play as a guy named Bigby, and he's a detective, but he's the big bad wolf is who he actually is. And all the fairy tale characters are taking these like drugs or something that when they take it makes them look human so that they can blend in. And they have all these rules and laws that they can't, they can no longer use magic and they can no longer show who they really are. And then there's these murders happening where these prostitutes are being beheaded. And the prostitutes are more often than not like the princesses from Disney movies. Well, not Disney movies, the original fairy tales, I suppose. It's more going on the Hansel and Gretel kind of stories, or the what are the Brothers Grimm? Yeah, the Brothers Grimm's original versions. It's going back to the original fables. It's not in any way based on like the Disney franchise at all. Like, they don't have those designs or looks. But it's just a really interesting take on everything, which was what I really enjoyed.
I do really want to play that one.
Yeah, it's really good. Like, I would really recommend that one. Like, I do, like, and I enjoy, like, the Telltale games are like an easy play for me. They're just kind of, you can throw them on, they're quite enjoyable for me. But I think that is easily their best one. And it's so like the main character is funny, like, because
well, depending on how you play him.
But he's that damaged kind of cop who doesn't want to be there, you know, and he's got to deal with shit he doesn't want to deal with, and he's always got his tie loose, he's smoking, you know, like there's a lot of cliches in it, but it's cliches being attached to characters that never had those cliches, which is just an interesting twist on the characters. And like,
is he like Constantine, kind of like?
He's quite like Keanu Reeves' version of Constantine in the Constantine movie. I think actually is a good comparison. And then Toad is a very interesting character because he's this like, it's not like the Toad of Toad Hall who's like rich and wealthy and posh. He's got like a real Cockney London accent, and he's kind of like a character out of Snatch, and he's got this apartment and he's got like a little kid who's after seeing something that he doesn't want him to talk about, and he doesn't want to tell the police, but he's the guy that, like, you know, there's always in like those movies where the cop will like twist your arm, like, come on, I know you know something, like, hey, you know, you're breaking my balls here, you know, one of those kind of characters.
Yeah,
he's sort of done that way. But yeah, just the twists on all the different characters, the way they portray him is great. Ichabod Crane, you know, from like Sleepy Hollow, he's like the mayor of the town. Yeah, and he's like
cool.
He's like this spineless kind of politician, you know.
Yeah. Well, that is Ichabod Crane's character is a spineless person, but then they do push it even further with him into kind of actually being, he's really messed up in the head.
Yeah, he is. And they have there's loads of like characters in it that you wouldn't expect. Like there's a flying monkey.
Who's Buffkin from
Buffkin, that's right.
Buffkin,
and there's a great, and like I'll always every time I play that game, even though like in other scenarios I'll try to pick other choices just to see how it plays out. When it comes to Buffkin, there's always this one line you can pick that I just can't help. I always pick it. So he's like really chirpy and wants to talk to you, and he's like a scholar, and he works in Ichabod Crane's office, and he comes out books. He's like the archives guy. So he's this flying monkey, you know, from like the Wizard of Oz, and he's talking away to you. And he's like, you know, how are you, Bigsby? And this line where he just go, fuck off, Buffkin. He gets so sad straight away, and it's just gas. But like, yeah, there's a real tongue-in-cheek charm to the game that I think is there that really works with the style.
And is it the usual like 2 hour per episode experience? Cool. Okay, so it's a 10-hour game.
Pretty much, yeah. Like you can play it quite quickly, and
yeah, every creature you come across in it is from some sort of mythology or fable. Because I think
they are. Yeah, that's true.
What's the name of that troll thing from Beowulf's story?
Grendel, he's in it.
Grendel's in it. The New Jersey Devil's in it as well.
You get into like a bar fight with him.
Yeah.
Like it's that kind of thing. Like it's great. It's really grimy, and he has like this long-standing kind of love-hate relationship nearly with
Snow White, is it?
No, the hunter. What did I call him? Did they just call him the hunter? Did they?
I think so, actually. Yeah.
He's the guy that would have always chased down the big bad wolf, right?
Yeah.
But he goes drinking at bars, and he's like a town drunk and everything, and like it's just gas. It's a gas game to play.
Also,
it's really funny
when you meet Beauty, Belle, and the Beast.
They're having like relationship issues.
It's
fucking great.
And they're also in like an economic problem.
Yeah. Like
they have this really fancy looking apartment, but they actually can't afford
it. Yeah.
So they're going out with loan sharks and stuff.
It's such a clever like idea, and it's not talked about enough, I think. And it's one of the more I think it's one of the more creative ones that Telltale have done.
Yeah.
That's why I'm so surprised, and maybe it is a licensing thing, but I was so surprised how long it took to get a sequel to that one when like a lot of and I thought maybe people didn't like that one as much. But I just think it's great. I really, really enjoyed it. I I picked up the case, read the back of it, heard it was like a noir drama thing, and I thought, that sounds fun. So I played it, and I had a great time playing it. So, and it's a great way to keep in shape.
That's great.
So that is my favourite game that actually came out in 2014.
Do you have it on PS4 or anything?
PS3.
Alright.
Yeah, it would be PS3, yeah. I don't know if there's a PS4 version of it. I'm not
sure.
There
definitely is.
Is there one?
Yeah. I think it came out on literally everything.
Oh, okay.
So... But yeah, might play it on. I might see if I can pick it up on PS4 then.
Yeah, no, it's good. Like it is a really good game. I really enjoyed it, and I played it a couple of times because just to see other ways it could play out. Isn't Bloody Mary a character in it as well?
Bloody Mary is class,
and she's
like
a really
sociopathic
creepy
murderer.
Because like there's this whole serial killer thing going on, you know, that's basically what it is this crime case, and every episode will end on some sort of kind of cliffhanger, much like a TV kind of cop drama would. to lead you into the next episode. So
cool.
It's done really well. And the ending, I'm not going to talk about the ending, but I remember like being a little confused by the ending, where I felt the need to play it again, and I didn't quite understand. I was like, there's something I've missed here. There's a twist here that I've actually missed. Like I didn't
understand it the next time you played it?
No.
Yeah.
I have a theory about it, but I don't actually know if I'm correct.
Supposed to be for the second one then?
Could be.
Maybe.
It could be that, or it could be that they wanted people to talk about it.
Or they just forgot how to write.
No, I don't think so. I actually think they wanted to have people discuss it afterwards. Going, what did you make of or what did you think about, like what really went down here? What really happened?
Is it like the spinning top in Inception kind of thing, or?
Kinda, yeah, something like that.
Kinda.
It's open ended.
Not as big as that, I don't think, but yeah, kind of like that. Yeah.
Okay.
Like it's deliberate. It is deliberate.
Okay.
So that's my favorite game that came out that technically came out that year, I suppose. But then the other one.
It sounds like the best game out of what we talked about. To be honest,
I think it's probably the most creative one.
Yeah.
I could be wrong on that, but then the other one is the HD remasters of Final Fantasy X.
Yeah.
Which is one of my favorite games.
And 10-2. Don't forget about 10-2, man.
10.
10-2, man.
The Final Fantasy X part of it is the part that 10-2. I'm gonna put it. I do not like 10-2 as a game, so that blows that one away. But 10 is one of my favorite games. Like it's in my top 10. Hey. I won't have enough time to talk about all the reasons I like it. To tell the truth, it has some cons. It has some cons. I actually think it only has some cons.
I didn't know it's a really great game, but it has a lot of cons.
Hundreds of pros.
Sure.
I think it's the best combat of any of the Final Fantasy games.
I'd agree with that one. Yeah.
It's so fucking clever with the way it uses, okay, so there's other Final Fantasies that you could play and you can use the same 3 characters for the whole game.
Yeah.
And so you don't get to know your other characters or have any sort of form of attachment to them at all. Whereas this game forces you in scenarios where you have to actually swap out party members.
Yeah. And
they're all going on a quest that makes sense. And it's not like a ragtag band of people. It was like, I'm only here. I remember there's a scene in Final Fantasy VII, and I'm not bashing that game at all, but there's like a scene where they meet Rufus. And they all explain who they are, and it's a really messy scene because it's literally just like the writers try to show, look how ragtag this group is, like look how like not connected they are. It's like, I'm a flower girl from the slums, I'm an ex-mercenary, I'm and I'm at a failed experiment. That's, I'm pretty sure Red 13 says that, but like it's like I'm serious. He does.
Oh my god.
What?
Imagine describing yourself as that.
I'm a failed experiment. Well, he also goes, yeah, you could call me this, which is what he was branded as by the people who took him. So it's literally like, you could call me Prisoner 1X1. And then later on they find out his real name. And it's like, who the hell is Nanaki? Prisoner 1X1 is Nanaki. It's like, okay, come on, Prisoner 1X1. Like, to continue to call him Red 13, which is not, like, that's what Hojo branded him.
Yeah.
But yeah, like in 10, the group have a very clear quest, and they have a clear, there's a summoner going on this pilgrimage, and everyone becomes her guardians, protecting her on this pilgrimage, and it's to defeat this entity to save the world. And fuck me, I love the game. I absolutely.
Oh yeah, it is a brilliant game.
Every time I play it, I get so caught up in the adventure of it. But like, you never want someone to walk in and watch you play it.
See, that's the thing. Like,
you're cringy elements.
You're saying that there's
but
some cons, but I think those some cons are like on the surface level.
Yeah.
That unfortunately is overpowering.
Right.
Because
okay.
when someone sees it, like, or even like plays a demo of it, even, or just watches some of it, like, it's really hard to get past that voice acting.
Yes.
It's very difficult. Even
on some of the characters, some of them are actually voiced really well.
But it's the dialogue itself, and
yeah.
So that's really difficult. Like, and as well as the overall, I think the designs are good, but the overall design palette, it's not as serious as some of the other Final Fantasies, if you get me.
It's not, but the tone of the story is.
Yeah, like, I mean, you have
it's
to. It's
actually one of the darkest Final Fantasy games.
Yeah. But it
weird
almost has that
because,
kind
you're
of...
right. It's so bright in its palette.
Yeah. But it does have one of those, like, when some people say, oh yeah, you gotta watch this season, and it's like, oh, I tried to watch that season, but I didn't like it. It's like, oh, but if you get past season 3, it gets really good. It kind of suffers from that a little bit.
I don't know, because like for me, it pretty much launches straight into it once that like metal song comes on and Xanarkin's getting destroyed in a cool badass CGI cutscene. Like, all right, fuck yeah. And then and then it slowly introduces these other elements. So I was hooked in pretty quickly, actually.
Oh, I was too. I can see other
empathize
with people who dislike it.
Oh, I by no means would I tell someone they have like. It's not for me. It's not like The Last of Us, where if someone says they don't like it, I go, "What the hell's wrong with you?" Or
even Final Fantasy 7. Like if someone says they dislike Final Fantasy 7, like
I know people who don't like Final Fantasy 7, and the reason they don't like it is twofold, and it's they usually don't like the graphics, and they usually don't like the gameplay.
Well, they have no excuses now.
No, they don't, baby. No, they don't. But after Final Fantasy 7, Final Fantasy 10 is my next favorite Final Fantasy game, and I've played quite a few of them.
Yeah, that's not.
No, I don't think so.
Not hard to play a few of them, or not hard to.
Well, a lot of people say that if you like 7, you'll like 10. They seem thematically they're similar.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, like they both have this cyberpunk vibe, and they both.
Well, I wouldn't call 10 cyberpunk, but
10 is a post-apocalyptic world.
Yeah, it is. But that doesn't mean cyberpunk though.
Well, because the Al-Bhed are quite cyberpunk. There's a cyberpunk element.
They're advanced, not cyberpunk.
I think they're cyberpunk.
Brock, get your
I think they are.
Get your facts straight when it comes to cyberpunk.
The big con is Titus.
Titus, man.
It's Titus. Whoever pronounces it Titus is fucking asshole. His name is Titus, right? I don't care if the creators decided it's Titus in Dissidia. His name is Titus because there's an aquatic theme throughout the game. So having the pronunciation of tide in his name makes sense. And Titus,
but you pronounce it as Teed, man.
The TID is Teed.
The Teed waves are coming in.
And plus, it's a better name. Titus is a better name than Titus. So he's Titus.
Aerith or Eris?
Aerith. Because Eris is a mistranslation. She is actually Aerith. She was only Eris on the Western editions, like so. But ever since
they spelt it?
No, but ever since any other English translation after that game is Aerith. Like she's Aerith in.
How do you know it wasn't translated wrong the second time?
Because they've done it they've done it consistently.
Maybe they could have done it consistently wrong though.
Oh shit, though.
They didn't.
How do you know?
Because they've confirmed this. Her name is Aerith.
The people who can't speak English.
Her name is Aerith. All right, I'm telling you, it's Aerith. Okay. Aerith is still a nice name. They're both nice.
Yeah.
But her name is Aerith. But back to what I like about 10. Fuck you guys.
I love 10.
The music is unreal.
Yeah.
The combat is unreal. The world is unreal. Yeah. I love Spira. The religion aspect to it.
Lulu is great.
Lulu is fucking awesome. Orn is great. Kamari is great. Yuna, I didn't like Yuna the first time I played it. But when I replayed it, there's a strength to Yuna that I didn't appreciate as a child. Which is that when I was a child, unless you were badass like Orn, you weren't cool. So Lulu was like the badass girl, and Yuna wasn't. But Yuna has a strength now that is, it's hard not to commend. Which is, she is a young girl who's trying to remain optimistic, who knows that she is going to die doing this, and is on a pilgrimage to sacrifice herself to save the world for 10 years and 10 years only.
What's also great about her is that when it comes down to figuring out how to beat sin, she has the strength of will to go, no, I'll find another way.
Yeah, eventually, when she realizes how corrupt the
whole thing is,
the system is, the themes in the game are just like they just resonate so well with me, and I love one of my favorite philosophical ideas on human nature is Thomas Hobbes. He's a philosopher. He has this idea about this Leviathan, right, which is this giant monster that the world would need in order for humanity not to destroy itself.
Like to come together, kind of a thing?
Yeah. So the concept of hell.
Sure.
Like if we didn't have the fear of hell, we'd kill each other. So we need it, right? Now, there's no one saying he's right
Yeah.
But it's a theory that he had about human nature. Right. So this game is essentially that. Sin is the Leviathan that the religious organization need to keep the world in order. Mm-hmm. Fucking amazing. And
they just ruined it.
Amazing idea. Huh?
And then you go ahead and ruin it.
Ruin what?
Well, you ruined that idea because you end up destroying Sin. And
right, yeah. And then the world goes into chaos. No, but like, because in the backdrop of the game, and you see ruins everywhere and ruined old cities, the world was at war at one point with giant machines.
Yeah.
And the world was like, there was this war that they even talked about at one point that everyone thought the world was going to end. Kind of like a nuclear catastrophe or whatever. Mm-hmm. And then Sin came. And so everyone sees it as, well, sin is our punishment for letting things get out of hand. They say it often.
Yeah.
But as a result, because there are people using technology still, they're just not telling anyone. Because even the Yevonites, which is like the church in it, mm-hmm. actually have technology and they keep it for themselves. And they have rules keeping everyone else down, but they're not following the rules. Like, if someone dies, they have to be sent to this heaven place, right? The far plane. But the leader of the church is dead for the whole game.
Yeah.
Like, it's fucking... The game is so layered, and there's twists and twists and twists. And it's got an adventure...
It's not a Final Fantasy game. It doesn't have lots of twists.
Well...
Yeah, not many of them
There's a few Final Fantasy games that, for some reason, just do not hit the same depth, especially in the later years. I know 12 got a lot of praise, and 13 also got a lot of praise by a lot of people. They just don't hit the same layers.
Yeah, exactly. So you're a Final Fantasy game when you have a lot of layers.
It's like, otherwise I'm not counting you. Yeah. But yeah, so technically that was my favorite game that year. But technically it also did not come out that year. In a weird way. Like the remaster version did, but the actual game did not. So I won't go on about it too much more. I give it a mention here. At some point I might go into it again. Mm-hmm. But of the games that actually were like released in 2014, The Wolf Among Us was my favorite. So that's where I stand with that.
That's the end of that chapter.
That is the listen to my story. Before we finish up this episode, I'd like to go back to the horror stuff.
Honorable mention.
Honorable mention has to be mentioned. It was in my top 3.
Yeah,
it didn't
my top 3
beat the other 2 only because it's not a full game. It's a short experience. Mm-hmm. But on a technicality basis, in some ways, it surpasses them.
It's the best thing that came out that year.
Oh, it's fucking unreal. So, yes, a dream team came together for something that unfortunately never bloomed, never blossomed. Mm-hmm. Not in the way that it was supposed to anyway. The year is 2014, and the scariest thing ever is released. It's called PT, and nobody has a fucking clue what it is, but everyone is talking about it. And only when you finish it do you realize what it is, and also who's behind it. So Hideo Kojima and Guillermo del Toro put this thing together, right?
Yeah.
And I remember trying to, because I remember experiencing it, and I remember trying to tell people that they need to try it.
Yeah.
And they were like, what is it? It's like, okay, you're in a hallway and you got to walk through the hall. And they were like, Chris, that sounds shit. Like, just try it. Okay, so you're in a hallway, you're going to turn the corner, walk through the door, and then you're going to do it again because you're going to find yourself in the same hall. And I remember we downloaded it at a friend's house. And I remember them playing it. And when they went through and it was the same door again, and they were just like, Chris, like, what the fuck, you know? And then more and more the subtle changes start happening.
Yeah.
And then it just gets creepier and creepier and creepier. And this is what I was talking about earlier on. Like, and the difficult part becomes, I don't want to turn that corner.
Yeah.
Right?
Or turn around.
Or turn around, yeah. Oh, God. Flashbacks. It's one of the scariest things I've ever played.
Yeah.
And probably more so for just how real that hall looks.
Like, PT did kind of reinvigorate the kind of the horror genre. Because, like, a lot of stuff... Like, I mean, you know, it's not just that. Obviously, Outlast and stuff like that, and Amnesia as well, but...
Layers of Fear. That's another one.
I think that came out later.
Did it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So PT kind of, I think, was like the Last of Us in that regard, where it kind of just showed you like there's an audience for this kind of stuff. And how to do it well. I don't think Resident Evil 7 would have gone in the direction that it did go if it wasn't for the likes of PT. Yeah, it was just like it's so unfortunate what happened to that. Like it really is. But I remember spending like days and days trying to figure that out. Like the thing is, like I knew what it was obviously because I think in less than 48 hours or something like that.
Someone had figured out what it was and like told everyone.
And then the trailer got leaked at the end and stuff like that. But even though I knew what the end game was, I was more interested in trying to figure out, well, how do you get there? You know, like it's like it's not you know, completing it isn't what made that fun to play, if you can call it fun. It was trying to figure out like the small intricate mechanics of how do you complete a certain puzzle in it, because it was a puzzle game.
Oh, very much so.
So it was like trying to figure out all the letters, or you know, you need to turn around, or you need to look through a certain like a hole in a picture in the wall or something.
Gouge it out.
Things like that, yeah. But the last one I couldn't figure it out. I completed it once and I had no idea how.
I don't think I ever completed it.
No,
so
I never completed it. I
played
looked up information how to complete it, and I would try to follow it, and it still wouldn't work.
To this day, the walkthrough is incorrect. Every single walkthrough for it is not accurate.
Yeah,
no one actually knows 100% how to get through it. Everyone who has gotten through it
got through by accident.
Yeah, and they kind of are trying to backtrack and think, and they've kind of gone through similar paths and kind of record it down, but
it's
they're not
unfortunate
accurate.
that it's gone.
Yeah, that's bullshit. They should have just left it up.
That teaser is a gaming masterpiece.
Yeah.
And like if it had been a longer experience, it would definitely be the best game that came out that year. I suppose technically it's not a game; it's like a mini game, or it's a teaser, as it's called, playable teaser. Best bit of gaming marketing ever.
So good, yeah.
Ever.
Yeah, but that's
ever,
you know
ever,
what that's
ever.
That's Kojima, like
in a nutshell.
Yeah, like if he had his way, that's how that's how Ground Zeroes would have been.
I know.
But like Konami wanted to, like earn something from it, because they needed. There's all this money being spent on the Fox engine, being spent on Metal Gear and stuff like that, and there was no kind of return. They were very money hungry, so that's why they charged. But it was going to get there. Like, yeah, of course it was going to get there.
As a result of that teaser, because like Silent Hill became one of those, much like Resident Evil. Yeah. There was a time when it was a really popular horror series.
Yeah.
And then nearly every year there'd be like another Silent Hill game coming out, and no one really cared. Like there was all these like Shattered Dimensions and all these other games that you heard of them, but they weren't coming up on like games of the year or any of that kind of stuff, right? Yeah. They'd missed their peak ever since like Silent Hill 3. And this, as a result of this teaser, I mean, everyone was like, "I'm pre-ordering Silent Hills."
This is so silly. It was such a moneymaker.
This is going to be fucking huge, you know. And Norman Reedus is in it as well, and like they are really going for it. Like they're going, right, we need to reinvigorate the shit out of this. So this was going to be like what Resident Evil 4 did for Resident Evil franchise again for a while, right?
Yeah.
And now what Resident Evil 7 has done for it, and since then, like Capcom are on a roll at the moment with the Resi games, because even the Resident Evil 2 remake. Fucking amazing. The Resident Evil 3 remake is on the way. You know what I mean? They're on a roll at the moment.
Amazing.
Silent Hills was going to do that for the Silent Hill franchise, and now that project is dead. Like, it's gone.
Well, what's really unfortunate because like that, it was done behind their back, as far as I know.
Which was the PT?
Yeah. Like if Konami had their way, they would have sold that product, right?
Yeah, right. Okay.
But that, as far as I know, that was actually done behind their back. So that was like a little pet project for both Kojima and Del Toro. They released it. They never told Konami that they were going to do that.
But I mean, think about the hype it built up.
Yeah, if they were clever enough now, and I think it was because Kojima wanted to prove that he can do something other than Metal Gear, because he was for ages.
And it was so different.
Trying to get off the Metal Gear project for so long.
It was so different.
But what's really, really annoying now is there are rumors that there is going to be a Silent Hill game.
I'm sure there is. There's no way they're going to let Silent Hill go.
And it's probably going to be shit.
Like it depends on who's going to do it and what their vision is going to be, and like is it going to be anything? I mean, well, look, I have a feeling that if they do bring out a Silent Hill game, they will still go for the first person thing. They're not gonna. The studio is gonna tell whoever. I don't think so. Because of the hype PT had, the studio are gonna make whoever comes along. Like,
I think it's gonna be safe.
Please try and do this. I'm not saying they're gonna do it well. I'm just saying they're gonna go. Will you please try and capture what they were going to do?
Sure. No, I don't think
it's gonna.
If I was Konami and I was really conscious of like how much I was spending and how much I was going to get in return, I would do exactly what Capcom are doing. I would use the Fox engine and I would remake 1 and 2.
Yeah.
And that's...
Well, if they remake Silent Hill 2 in HD, like there'll be no problem.
Like if they were trying to play it safe, that's how you do it. I think if they go and try and make a new one, it's not going to go.
Especially if they... But the issue will be the comparisons, I guess. So like if they remake Silent Hill 2, right?
Yeah.
Because that one is the most famous one.
Yeah.
I could just see Pyramid Head as Mr. X, right? He's like, Pyramid Head is the one following you around. I could see it will be an absolute like too fucking similar in terms of how the game plays
definitely
out
will
works,
be.
You know.
Yeah.
It's such a shame what happened to that because of like PT was just
and there's consoles being sold for
with just that on it. Yeah.
With ridiculous prices.
But yeah, it's just like the scariest thing I've ever fucking played.
Have you seen any of the other games that people made on PC and everything? I can't remember the names of them, but like I know there was one of them was real famous where you were in a house for the whole thing. So essentially just PT, but only now you get to explore the whole house.
Yeah, and it never launched.
What is that called?
No, it didn't launch because Konami went after them.
Ah, bastard! Because that was horrifying.
Because it was, basically, it was basically PT.
Yeah, but like influenced by it. Like how many games are similar? You can't do that. You can't say we own that style.
Yeah,
if you can.
I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure that's the. I'm pretty sure that's the reason. I don't think it's a financial reason.
Something like that had Alice in the name.
Yeah, I can't remember.
Alice in Not Wonderland.
I've lost a lot of respect for Konami as a studio.
Oh, absolutely. They're horrendous.
Everyone else has as well, but it's a real shame because like, there was a time where I would have said it was one of my favorite studios purely for pumping out the Metal Gear Solid franchise, right? And I used to. I mean, now
and Yu-Gi-Oh.
Now I can only
Castlevania.
Well,
Castlevania, yeah. Not Yu-Gi-Oh. I was never a fan of Yu-Gi-Oh.
No, but I remember when I found that Konami was on the back of Yu-Gi-Oh cards. I was like, oh my god, what?
Yeah,
it was mind blown.
Yu-Gi-Oh. Yeah. Now I'm just gonna put it down to like, Konami have fucking nothing to do with Metal Gear Solid success. It's all Kojima. Like, there was a time where I would have thought they had more of a role in that. Like, I don't. The think
ones where Konami had like a huge role in dictating Metal Gear are my least favorite Metal Gear games.
And which ones are they?
It would be Portable Ops, Peace Walker, and The Phantom Pain.
Yeah, there's a trend there too. They're all the fucking big boss games. I don't know. Yeah. I also I would be in the same boat.
That's actually one of those things where when it comes to Metal Gear Solid is that with Big Boss, they should have just left it with 3.
I absolutely agree.
Just left it with 3 and let the audience just have their own theories of how he really got to the point of becoming.
Well, what they did. What they
No.
did by making more games about him is they actually took away from the original story, which is that Big Boss becomes a villain. Now he's not a villain. He's a hero, but he's just on the other side. But he's not a villain.
Yeah.
Is what these other games have done, and that really takes away from. So as opposed to him being this sort of Darth Vader character.
Yeah, well, I mean, I don't mind them doing
I'd fucking
games exploring the character more. It's just that the games didn't explore the character more. That's my problem with it. They didn't.
They rehashed.
There's nothing new.
No.
Like Peace Walker, the story is exactly the same as what we. Snake Eater is like.
Yeah, it's kill the boss again.
It's the same thing. It's the same thing all over again.
Yeah.
There's one thing about Peace Walker I did like though was that.
Why are we talking about Peace Walker?
I have no idea. We're on this now.
Go ahead. I mean, at one point we probably will talk about the entire Metal Gear Solid franchise.
Probably. Is the first one where you get to see Snake have more emotion than question and angry. It's the first time he's trying to.
Well, that's why a lot of people
great, yeah.
like. I mean,
it's a very good scene.
A lot of people do like Big Boss over Solid Snake just because he has more depth to him.
Yeah, I get that, but I personally am a Solid Snake fan.
Yeah, well, I just think the adventures are more fun.
Yeah, but no, I prefer Solid Snake's character, and purely for the first Metal Gear Solid game, where Solid Snake is essentially an empty husk of a man who just kills because he knows nothing else, and he's questioned on it, and Meryl's even saying, she asks him about his soldier life and everything. Yeah, and he's never questioned it at all, but at the end of the game he starts to, like, on the journey he goes on, he starts to question it, and by the end of the game he realizes, I'm not going to fight, I'm not going to be a tool of the government or anyone else. Fighting is the only thing I'm good at, but at least I'm going to fight for what I believe in. And he forms philanthropy. So I fucking...
It's almost like you're quoting the game there, Chris.
It is a little bit like that.
He's a lot like Bill Gates.
Anything else we want to say about PT?
Yeah, I miss it so much. It's going to be like for us, like, I remember hearing stories when I was a kid that, like, the older adults, when they were younger, they did things like Ouija boards and stuff.
Yeah.
And there was always that kind of like, oh my god, they were...
You crazy people.
Yeah, what were you doing? Like, that's...
Crazy nuts people.
And this is going to be our version of that.
Yeah. When we were young, we used to,
kids are going to be
to
like...
our friends' houses and...
They played PT. It's like, what's PT?
You don't want to know. You don't want to experience it.
It's where you talk into a mirror and you summon the devil.
But the mirror is a TV screen. The devil is some chick named... What was her name? Emily? Something?
Lisa?
Lisa.
It was Lisa.
7 foot tall Lisa who was missing an eye.
Hate that bitch.
And a heel.
So that sums up our favorite games of 2014. We actually went in thinking we wouldn't have much to talk about, and we've talked for quite a long time. But
maybe there was. Yeah, maybe there's a few games that came out that year.
Yeah, maybe there was. So going through them again, The Evil Within.
Yeah, which apparently was slated. That's actually all that happened with that. This got slated.
It was a light game. Orion the Blind Forest. And The Wolf Among Us, I suppose, were the games that really came out that year that impressed us. With an honourable mention to PT, which
we all loved.
We are sad that the official project never took shape, and we hope it'll someday again.
I actually wouldn't mind if it never existed. I'm more gutted that the demo's gone.
Yeah, the demo should be back. It's a real shame. However, that they would start selling the demo too.
Oh, but there is, the game Dreams?
Yes, there is.
That looks like something I would love but not be able to play. Because I'd be like, this thing is not working the way I want it to.
Yeah.
Someone made PT out of that.
Did they really?
Yeah.
Oh, class.
Wow.
And it looked like PT.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm getting Dreams right now.
The reviews for Dreams are... Like,
is it out?
It launched today.
It launched today, yeah.
And the reviews are insane.
Day.
Which is not the day you're listening to this podcast.
Oh, yeah.
So it'll be out a few weeks by the time.
Oh, yeah.
It launched right now, baby. So that sums up our conversation for 2014. Next time we'll be talking about our favourite games from 2015. And
bet you didn't know that.
Yeah. Whoa, big reveal. And we're all going to argue to fuck with each other.
Are we?
Oh yeah, we are. No, I don't know. We might.
No.
But just so you know as well, by the time we get to the end...
Oh, yeah, we are.
Oh, we are.
Are we?
By the time we get to the end of this series, we will also do an episode on what, as a result of all of these, what our favourite game of the decade was.
I hear.
So we are going to talk about that.
Fucking Infinity Blade.
I fucking hope it is. So we will be doing that, and then after that we will be launching into new territory and focusing on maybe even older games than the ones we've discussed.
Class.
So that's where we're heading. Thank you all for joining, and we'll talk to you next time.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.